I came to Easter with my kid. My dad looked up and said, "You really couldn't skip just one?" My daughter whispered, "Do they not want us here?" I took her hand and said, "We're leaving." 40 minutes later, my phone lit up with messages from my mom asking why the bank card was suddenly declined. I walked into my parents' house on Easter Sunday holding my daughter's hand, and honestly, I was excited. Emma was wearing the yellow dress we'd picked out together, the one with little white flowers she'd been obsessing over for weeks. She's 7 and she still believed family gatherings were supposed to be warm and loving. We weren't even fully through the door when my dad looked up from his newspaper, glanced at us and said, "You really couldn't skip just one?" I froze. My sister Brianna was sprawled on the couch with her phone, and she didn't even bother looking up, but I saw that smirk. That satisfied little smirk she always gets when she knows she's won something. Emma tugged my sleeve and whispered, "Mommy, do they not want us here?" That's when something inside me just snapped. I looked down at my daughter's confused face, squeezed her hand and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "We're leaving." My mom started to protest, but I was already turning around. 40 minutes later, we'd just gotten home and I was helping Emma out of that pretty dress she'd been so excited about. My phone started blowing up. Text after text from my mom. "The card isn't working. Why is the bank card declined? Call me immediately." Do you think I responded right away? No. I sat there on Emma's bed watching her carefully hang up her dress, and I let those messages pile up. Because here's what my parents didn't know. I'd been paying their mortgage for the last 18 months. Their car insurance, their medical bills, everything. My father had lost his job, and instead of asking for help like a normal person, he'd somehow convinced himself he was doing me a favor by letting me contribute to the family. And my mother? She went along with it because Brianna, perfect unmarried child-free Brianna, had convinced them that I owed them for having a kid so young and ruining my potential. I was 23 when I had Emma. Not 16. 23. With a degree and a job. But according to Brianna's version of events, I'd destroyed my life and embarrassed the family. The messages kept coming. My mom was panicking now. "Please call. We need to talk. This is serious." I texted back one sentence, "I'll call you tomorrow." Then I turned off my phone and made Emma hot chocolate with extra marshmallows. You want to know what's funny? This wasn't the first time they'd made it clear we were inconvenient. Last Thanksgiving my dad had forgotten to set places for us at the table. Christmas Brianna had bought gifts for everyone except Emma. And I'd absorbed it all. Smiled through it. Made excuses. But watching my 7-year-old daughter ask if her own grandparents wanted her there, that was my line. The next morning I finally called my mom back. She answered on the first ring, her voice high and frantic. "Madison, what is going on? The mortgage payment didn't go through. The insurance bounced. Did you change banks?" "No, Mom," I said calmly. "I just stopped paying your bills." Silence. Actual complete silence. "You what?" "I stopped paying for everything. The house, the cars, the medical insurance. All of it." "You can't do that. We have an agreement." "An agreement?" I actually laughed. "Mom, you never even thanked me. Not once in 18 months. Yesterday Dad told me I should have skipped Easter. Your granddaughter heard that. So yeah, I can do this and I am doing this." I could hear her breathing, trying to formulate an argument. Then she switched tactics. "Your father didn't mean it that way. You're being overly sensitive." And Brianna said, "Stop." My voice came out harder than I'd intended. "I don't care what Brianna said. But I'm done being your aim while you treat my daughter like she's a burden." My mom started crying. The guilt-trip tears. "How could you do this to us? We're your parents. And I've been supporting you financially for a year and a half while you let Brianna poison you against me and Emma. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to figure out your own bills. I'll be keeping my money for my daughter." I hung up before she could respond. Emma was watching cartoons in the living room, completely unaware that I'd just nuked our family dynamic. She looked so peaceful. And I thought, yeah, I absolutely did the right thing. My phone rang again within minutes. This time it was Brianna. I answered. "What? What the hell is wrong with you? Mom just called me crying." "You cut them off. They're our parents, Madison. And Emma is my daughter. Your niece. The one you pretend doesn't exist except when you want to lecture me about my life choices. This isn't about Emma. It's entirely about Emma. You've spent years convincing Mom and Dad that I'm some kind of failure because I have a kid. You've made every gathering miserable." She went quiet. Then, in that condescending tone, "Look, maybe everyone overreacted yesterday. But cutting off Mom and Dad financially? That's nuclear. You know what's cruel? Watching my daughter's face when her grandfather made it clear we weren't welcome. I'm done enabling it. So this is some kind of revenge plan?" "No, Brianna. This is me setting boundaries. Something I should have done a long time ago. I hung up on her too. Emma called out from the living room. Mommy, can we have pancakes? Yeah, baby, I called back. We can have whatever you want. Because unlike my parents' house, in our house she was always welcome. But I knew this wasn't over. My parents were going to scramble, and when they did, well, let's just say Brianna got a very unexpected lesson in consequences. 3 days of silence. That's how long it took before the real chaos started. I'd expected my parents to call, maybe show up at my door. What I didn't expect was to come home from work and find Brianna sitting on my front porch steps, looking like she'd been crying. Brianna. Crying. The woman who once told me emotions were self-indulgent. We need to talk, she said, standing up as I walked toward the door with Emma. Aunt Bree. Emma lit up because despite everything she still loved her aunt. Kids are like that, they forgive way too easily. Brianna's face softened for just a second when she looked at Emma, but then she straightened. Hey Emma. Can I talk to your mom for a minute? I unlocked the door. Emma, go pick out a snack. I'll be right in. Once my daughter was inside, I crossed my arms. What do you want, Brianna? Mom and Dad are freaking out. Like actually freaking out. Dad's been applying to jobs all week and Mom. She paused, looking genuinely uncomfortable. Mom asked me to cover the mortgage this month. I raised an eyebrow. And I told her I couldn't. Wait, what? Do you believe that? I almost laughed. You couldn't or you wouldn't? Couldn't. Brianna looked away. I don't have that kind of money, Madison. I never did. I stared at her. What are you talking about? You're always going on about your successful career, your investments. Yeah, well, I've been lying. She said it so quietly I almost didn't hear her. I've been living off credit cards for 2 years. I lost my job 18 months ago and I've been freelancing, barely keeping my head above water. The whole successful independent woman thing? It's been a performance. I felt like the ground had shifted under my feet. Are you serious right now? Dead serious. She finally looked at me and I saw something I'd never seen before. Shame. When Mom and Dad lost their income, I panicked. I couldn't help them financially, but I couldn't let them know I was struggling too. So I just let you handle it. And I convinced myself, and them, that you owed it to them somehow because of Emma. Because that was easier than admitting you weren't perfect. Yeah. She sat back down on the steps like her legs wouldn't hold her anymore. And now Mom's demanding I step up and I can't, and she's furious with me. She said if I can't help, then I clearly don't care about family the way you do. Oh, the irony. I almost felt bad for her. Almost. So you came here for what? Sympathy? No. Brianna looked up at me. I came to tell you that you were right. About everything. I've been a terrible sister. I've been terrible to Emma. And I turned Mom and Dad against you because it was easier than dealing with my own mess. I wasn't expecting that. Honestly, what would you have done? I stood there completely speechless. I don't expect you to forgive me, she continued. But I needed you to know. And I needed to tell you something else. What? Mom and Dad called a family meeting for tomorrow. They want both of us there. And Madison. She stood up, brushing off her jeans. They have no idea I've been broke this whole time. When they find out. She laughed bitterly. This is going to get really ugly. After she left, I went inside and found Emma eating apple slices at the kitchen table. Is Aunt Bree okay? She asked. She seemed sad. Yeah, baby. She's just going through some stuff. That night, after Emma went to bed, I sat on my couch staring at my phone. A family meeting. With my parents who'd barely spoken to me in days, and my sister who'd just confessed to destroying my relationship with them over her own insecurities. Part of me wanted to skip it entirely. But another part, the part that was tired of running, tired of being the villain in everyone else's story, that part wanted to show up and watch this whole thing implode. The next evening, I dropped Emma off at my friend Rachel's house and drove to my parents' place. My stomach was in knots the entire way. When I walked in, my mom and dad were sitting on the couch, looking tense. Brianna was already there, perched on the armchair, picking at her fingernails. Madison. My dad stood up. Thank you for coming. Let's just get this over with, I said, staying near the door. What do you want? My mom spoke up, her voice tight. We want to understand why you abandoned us when we needed you most. Actually laughed. Abandoned you? Are you kidding me right now? You cut off all financial support without warning, my dad said. We have bills due, Madison. Real consequences. And I had a daughter who was told she wasn't welcome at Easter, I shot back. Real emotional consequences, Dad. Remember that. That was a misunderstanding. No, it wasn't. I looked at both of them. It was the truth finally coming out. You've resented Emma and me for years because Brianna convinced you we were a burden. My mom's eyes flicked to Brianna. That's not true. Brianna has always. Mom, stop. Brianna's voice cut through the room. She stood up, her hands shaking slightly. Madison's right. I did convince you. I told you she was irresponsible, that having Emma ruined her life, that she owed you for the embarrassment. My parents stared at her. And I did it, Brianna continued, her voice breaking, because I was jealous and scared and broke, and I needed you to think I was the successful one so you wouldn't look too closely at my life. My mother went pale. What are you talking about? I lost my job a year and a half ago, Mom. I've been lying about everything. The career, the money, all of it. I'm drowning in debt, and I've been letting Madison carry the entire family while I tore her down to make myself feel better. The silence in that room was deafening. My dad finally spoke. You've been lying to us? This entire time? Yes. Brianna was crying now, actually crying. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. My mom looked between us, her face crumpling. So all this time, Madison, you've been the only one actually helping us, and we've been treating you like garbage, I finished. Yeah. My dad sank back onto the couch, his face in his hands. And that's when something unexpected happened. Something I definitely didn't see coming. My mom stood up, walked over to me, and she just broke down. Completely broke down in a way I'd never seen before. I'm so sorry, she sobbed. I'm so sorry, Madison. Imagine what went through my mind at that moment. After everything, after all the coldness and dismissal, here she was finally seeing me. But here's the thing. Sorry doesn't pay back 18 months of bills. And it doesn't erase the hurt in my daughter's eyes. So what do you think I did next? Is what happened after that moment. Well, that's when things really got interesting. 3 days of silence. Then everything exploded. I didn't hug my mom back when she broke down crying. I just stood there letting her sob while I felt nothing. Is that cold? Maybe. But I'd cried plenty of tears over the years that nobody had bothered to wipe away. After a minute, I gently stepped back. Mom, I appreciate the apology. But we need to talk about what happens now. My dad looked up, his eyes red. What do you mean? I mean, sorry doesn't fix anything by itself. I sat down across from them. For 18 months, I paid your bills while working doubles, raising Emma alone, and listening to you criticize my choices. And the whole time, Brianna was feeding you lies to cover up her own problems. Brianna flinched but didn't argue. So here's what's going to happen, I continued. I'm not turning the money back on. You're both capable adults who need to figure out your own finances. Dad, you're already applying for jobs. Keep doing that. Mom, maybe it's time you looked for work too. My mother's face went white. But I haven't worked in over 20 years. Then it's time to start. My dad straightened up. Madison, we understand we hurt you, but completely cutting us off is exactly what you deserve, I said firmly. But I'm not heartless. I'll help you create a budget. I'll help you figure out assistance programs. I'll even loan you money for true emergencies, with a written agreement and a payment plan. But I'm done being your silent item. The room went quiet. Okay, my dad finally said. That's fair. My mom nodded, wiping her eyes. You're right. We took advantage of you. We let Brianna's words cloud our judgment, and we treated Emma terribly. Then she turned to Brianna. And I don't even know what to say to you right now. Brianna's face crumpled. I know. I destroyed everything because I couldn't admit I was struggling. Yeah, you kind of did, I interrupted. Everyone looked at me shocked. What? We're being honest now, right? Brianna actually smiled a little through her tears. Yeah. I really did. But you came clean. Finally. I leaned forward. Here's what you're going to do, Brianna. You're going to get actual help. Financial counseling, therapy, whatever you need. And you're going to rebuild your relationship with Emma. On her terms, not yours. I will. I promise. And one more thing. I looked her dead in the eye. You're going to call Emma tomorrow and apologize to her. Age appropriately but honestly. She deserves to know her aunt cares about her. Brianna nodded, tears streaming down. I'll call her. And Madison? I really am sorry. For all of it. Do you think I forgave her right then? Not quite. Trust isn't rebuilt in one conversation. But I could see she was genuinely broken by what she'd done. My dad cleared his throat. What about us? How do we make this right with you and Emma? I thought about it. You start by showing up. Really showing up. Emma has a school play next month. Be there. Her birthday is in 6 weeks. Actually remember it this time and treat her like she matters. My mom reached for my hand. We can do that. We will do that. And Dad. I looked at him. If you ever make another comment like, couldn't you skip just one about me or my daughter, we're done. Permanently. He nodded slowly. Understood. It won't happen again. We worked out practical details. Dad had a job interview next week. Mom agreed to look for part-time work. Brianna admitted she needed to file for bankruptcy and start over. It wasn't perfect. There was still tension, still hurt. But for the first time in years, everyone was being honest. As I left, Brianna walked me to the door. Thank you for not completely destroying me in there, she said quietly. You could have. Yeah, I could have. But what would that teach Emma? That revenge is more important than healing. I pulled out my keys. Besides, watching you confess everything to Mom and Dad was punishment enough. She laughed. It really was. I picked up Emma from Rachel's house, and the whole way home she chattered about decorating bunny cookies. Did you have a good meeting with Grandma and Grandpa? She asked. Yes, sweetie. Things are going to be different now. Good different. I think so. Aunt Bree wants to call you tomorrow. Emma's eyes widened. Really? Really? I hope she does. I miss her. Kids, they're so ready to forgive. It's terrifying and beautiful. 2 weeks later, things actually started to change. My dad got hired, not what he used to make but enough to cover basics. My mom started working part-time at a library and seemed to enjoy it. Brianna filed for bankruptcy, started therapy and called Emma twice a week. And my parents? They showed up to Emma's school play. Front row. With flowers. When Emma saw them in the audience, her whole face lit up. After the show, my dad picked her up and spun her around, telling her she was the best tree in the whole forest. You were wonderful, sweetheart, my mom said, hugging her tight. Brianna was there too. She'd brought Emma a book and said, I'm sorry I wasn't a better aunt before. But I'm going to try really hard now. Is that okay? Emma nodded enthusiastically. It's okay, Aunt Bree. Everybody makes mistakes. We all went for ice cream, and for the first time in years, it felt like we were actually a family. Not perfect. Still healing. But trying. My mom pulled me aside. Thank you for not giving up on us completely. I didn't do it for you, I said honestly. I did it for Emma. She deserves grandparents who love her. She does. And so do you. My mom squeezed my hand. We're going to keep doing better. And they did. It wasn't perfect. My dad still occasionally said thoughtless things, but he apologized. My mom sometimes forgot boundaries, but she listened when I reminded her. Brianna was slowly becoming the aunt Emma deserved. As for me, I kept my boundaries firm. I helped with real emergencies, but I never went back to being their bank account. And our relationship actually got better because of it. Emma's birthday came and my parents went all out. Brianna gave her a heartfelt card telling Emma how special she was. That night, after everyone left and Emma was asleep, I realized something. Holding on to anger had been exhausting. Letting it go, setting boundaries but allowing people room to change. That was freedom. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying the people who hurt you. Sometimes it's refusing to let them destroy you, standing your ground and watching them realize what they almost lost. So that's my story. Was it messy? Absolutely. Did I handle everything perfectly? Definitely not. But I protected my daughter, I set boundaries, and I gave my family a chance to become better people. What do you think? Did I do the right thing? Would you have handled it differently? I'd really love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, hit that like button. If something didn't sit right with you, tell me in the comments. Thank you so much for listening.